Hey guys, to help run the forums, host the website, and travel, we've introduced a universal service fee for in-depth coverage, including this video. My goal is to be unbiased and transparent. It's a privilege to serve you. This is not an endorsement. Let's get into it. Hey guys, it's a beautiful day in SoCal. We found this amazing architecture. I'm here with the co-founder of E-Lux. This is JP. How's it going?
Hey, good, Cord. How you doing?
Oh, fantastic, man. Just a wonderful day. We're riding around on these bikes, and I really like this style of bike, especially in SoCal. I mean, it's kind of like a beach cruiser, but you guys have outfitted it with just all these cool accessories, and it becomes a really capable commuting platform as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's the idea behind this model.
So this is the Malibu GT, which stands for?
Gran Turismo.
Sweet. And the idea is like there are these race cars, but they kind of outfit them with fancy interiors, and so you get the best of both worlds.
That's correct. You want something that's luxurious and for touring, but also you have the super high performance under the hood.
That's what you've got here. I mean, this thing, I'm just going to hit some of the highlights here. So we have this surface hybrid suspension system. It's almost like a gel saddle, but there's actual springs up in there. Can you guys see that? That's as well as these like rubber bumpers. We've got an SR Suntour NCX suspension seat post. This is like a $100 accessory right there. And it does have adjustable preload. So if you take that out, there's like a bolt on the bottom you can tighten. So it's a little bit more firm depending on your weight, or less firm. I like this post. It's 27.2. So it's a very standard seat post diameter. You could swap that out with something even fancier someday if you wanted, like a Connect body float type of a thing. That makes a huge difference. Up here we have a Zoom Aria. This is a spring fork. Doesn't have lockout, but it does have preload adjust on that side. 30mm stanchions versus like a 28 or something, so that's decent. And then it's got a paint match going on here, and look at that. It matches the fenders. Those are steel fenders. We've got a steel chain cover down here, matching steel rear fender. Steel is really sturdy. It doesn't rattle around as much as aluminum alloy. It doesn't bend as easily, get dented. However, if it gets scratched, it could rust a little bit, you know, and we are near the beach here and stuff. So one of the things that I try to keep in mind is if you get a little nick, you could kind of clean it off with some alcohol, and then you could put some clear nail polish on it. Or if you get one of the like black color.
Yeah, the matte black is real easy to fix scratches. You can just do it with spray paint. So.
You got a whole bunch of colors on this bike too. I mean, right? This is,
yes, we do.
It's a denim?
Yeah, we call this denim or cool blue. We also have what's called gunmetal, which is like a darker gloss with some nice metal flake in it. And then we have some matte black, and sometimes we'll have red and silver as rotating colors.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, you guys have the fun kind of special edition. And then what's that color over there?
That one is called Living Coral, which is the Pantone color this year. So we try to do some special color for the ladies. You know.
Well, and you said ladies, but one of the conversation points we had earlier is that, you know, depending on your hip, your knee situation, or if you're carrying a bunch of gear like a surfboard rack or something like that, sometimes the step through is nice regardless of your gender, and so you purposely made it in black and white as well.
That's correct, yes. We want to have a
That's
nice
awesome.
Neutral color there for people if they like.
Very cool. I love to see that. E-Lux has been in business since, what did you say, 2014?
2014 is when we started.
Okay.
Came to market with our first bike in 2015. So.
And I remember the Newport was one of the first bikes.
Yes, it was. The Newport was it was going to be the first bike, and then we came out with the Tahoe Fat Tire Cruiser first, and then the Newport came out 3 months after that, I think.
So these guys have been in business for a long time. I've been reviewing their bikes for a number of years, and the Newport, it was also set up really nicely. They had a good value, nice comfort, all that stuff was there, but it had the battery pack that was on the rack, which frees up the center of the frame. That's kind of nice. And, you know, hey, the rack is good for utility, but then it sort of takes away the carrying capacity of the rack, and it makes the whole bike rear heavy. So they've moved to this semi-integrated center battery design. You'll see this battery on a lot of bikes out there. It's become pretty popular, and I wanted to point out that it is interchangeable. So this one is 48 volts, 21 amp hours, 1,008 watt hours. That's over a kilowatt hour of capacity. That's what comes with the GT. Okay, but they also have just the standard Malibu Sport, and it has a 48 volt, 14 amp hour battery, and they're interchangeable.
That's right. You can interchange them, and you can also throw an extra one in your backpack. You know, they're pretty lightweight if you want to really add some miles. But you can get quite a bit with a 21 amp hour battery.
So the difference being the 14 amp hour battery on the E-Lux Malibu Sport weighs about 7.7 pounds, whereas the higher capacity 21 amp hour, it weighs 10.4 pounds. So, you know, there is a bit of a weight bump there. Also because of the fancier saddle and the seat post and the motor being higher capacity. Well, no, it's higher power is what I should be saying. This is a higher power motor. This thing's rated at 750 watts nominal, and then it's like 1500 watts peak.
Yes, it peaks at 1500 watts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. We wanted to have something that just really, you know, when you put your thumb in it, it just rocketed.
Grand Tour, right?
So,
that's
yes,
the
sir.
race car component going on. So that adds a little bit of weight. So 67.2 pounds for this frame versus, you know, coming back to the Sport. That model is $22.95. This one's $29.95. So you're getting the higher capacity battery, you're getting the more powerful motor, the comfortable saddle, the suspension seat post, and upgraded brakes. So with that extra weight and power, they decided to go with a 203 millimeter front rotor and quad piston calipers. So that's, you know, 180 in the rear. With the Malibu Sport, it had 180s front and rear dual piston, which is still great. I'm amazed when I see some of these bike companies that do have heavier bikes and stuff, and they'll have like mechanical disc brakes, and they'll be like 160 millimeter or something. This feels more secure to me. Some areas, you know, I want to critique and point out some vulnerable areas. Because it is a powerful bike and because it does weigh more, see how they've got that adjustable stem? Like, that's really nice for dialing it in and really creating a good fit. The bikes only come in one frame size, but they do come in two styles. So the step throughs are slightly smaller, lower standover height, lower minimum saddle height, all that. But, you know, the handlebars play into that as well. And you just want to keep in mind with that swept back bar that that's a lot of leverage and kind of a lot of weight going into that. And so you do want to double check and make sure that's staying tight. If you ever feel it rattling, it could start to strip the teeth in there. So do keep an eye on that. It goes from -10 to 50 degrees. This is a quill stem, so it can go up and down a little bit as well if you take this cap up like that, and you can adjust it yourself. And then down here, you'll notice that they have a controller box. This has like an alloy casing. At first I thought it was plastic, but it's pretty solid, and because they have that front fender, it's gonna stay fairly well protected. I asked them about that, and they said, well, you know, there's a lot of power going through that thing. It can kind of heat up, and we didn't want to build it right into the battery because, you know, it's a little bit cheaper to be modular to replace a battery, and also it's not gonna need replacement as much if the heat's being kept away from it. If you are buying one of these bikes and you've got a bike rack or something, keep in mind that some of these heavier bikes are maybe more than your bike rack is weighted for carrying. So you want to take that battery off. And if it's extremely hot or extremely cold in your garage or wherever you store your bike, maybe just outside in the sun if you're parked at your work or at school, taking that battery off and bringing it inside is going to help you to extend the life of it, because extreme heat, extreme cold can be hard on those lithium ion cells. And you were saying you guys do use high quality, what, Panasonic and Samsung?
Yeah, we use Panasonic and Samsung cells, and that's the most expensive part of the bike. So it's really important to have the best quality that you can get.
Excellent, excellent. And coming back to the high capacity, I don't want to forget to mention that they give you a faster 3 amp charger with the GT model versus the Sport model. You have a 2 amp. So the charging time ends up being 6.5, 7 hours. So it's fairly comparable. So you could kind of go with a his and hers setup or something, high step, low step, interchangeable batteries. I think the charger even works between them. So, you know, whether you get the faster charger or the slower charger, I think it's really cool when companies do that modular setup. And then here's what the slightly larger battery looks like. See how it bulges out to the left a little bit right there? This is a nice little, there it is, 48 volt, 21 amp hours, 1008 watt hours, like we said before. It's got a built-in USB charging port, so you could use this if you're having a picnic at a park to maintain your phone, or maybe you're camping and you could charge up some of your gear, your GPS or something. There's the charging port built right into the side of the pack. I do want to call out that because it is on the side of the battery pack here on all of the models, if you're pedaling these backwards like this and the charger's plugged in, it could kind of snag and get in the way, but at least they've positioned the kickstand towards the rear of the bike, so it's not going to create pedal lock, and it is going to support up to 55 pounds on this rack. So this is rated at 25 kilograms, 55 pounds. It's got thicker tubing up here, standard gauge tubing down here for if you have panniers or different bags, a saddle bag. I love that they've got this light built right into the rack and that it's protected by that top bar, because you guys do ship these bikes. I mean, you're in what, like 35 shops across the U.S.?
We have about 35 dealers, and then we also ship direct to to individuals. And when we ship the bikes, we like to ship our bikes 98% assembled, so that the customers can, basically they come with the wheels, front and rear wheels on.
Wow.
And basically the pedals aren't on the bike, and you have to put the handlebars on. But other than that, you basically can just cut the end of the box and roll it straight out. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that helps to protect it with the wheels and everything. I think part of the thing is you have those fenders, and they can be kind of vulnerable if you don't have the wheels built on already. So that's a nice way. It saves you time, it protects the bike in shipping, and then again, that light is well protected. It's a single LED blaze light in the rear, and then we have a pretty bright blaze light up front with the alloy casing. It does point where you steer, which is nice. It's mounted to the arch of that suspension, so it might bounce a little bit more than if it was up here on the head tube or even the cockpit, but they've got these wires wrapped really nicely. It's pretty clean. We do have motor inhibitors in both brake levers and brake light activation. So I'm gonna boot this bike up real quick, press the power button, comes to life very quickly, and then the backlighting goes off in just a second. There we go. We press the power button, backlighting comes back, and then we've got the headlight, hey, down there. Not bad. And then that rear light. JP, will you help me do a brake demo?
Yeah, sure.
Look at that. See how it goes bright? I think that's a really, really cool option. And even if we turn the lights completely off, now go ahead and do it again. Look at that. So as long as the bike's on, if you're pulling those brake levers, you've got an extra level of safety.
Yeah, that's really important, I think, especially if you're riding in the street or commuting across the city.
Yeah.
People need to be able to see it.
Well, and whether you've got like a bright, fun color like this, I tend to like white personally because it kind of stays cool and it hides the scratches and stuff. It's maybe not quite as much fun as the pink, but the touch-up paint thing we talked about, it's visible from the side. It creates like a larger visual footprint. But even if you went with the black, look what they've done. They chose these nice reflective sidewall tires. These are the Schwalbe Big Apple. They have Performance Line Race Guard, that's puncture protection, light skin, meaning lighter weight on the sidewalls there. And then these are pretty wide. It's not like some of those tires that are super narrow and they aren't comfortable. These are 26 by 2.15, so that's going to give you some stability for handling. And the 26-inch wheel size brings the whole frame a little closer to the ground, and that creates stability as well. So just all around great choices. I like the ergonomic grips. I like the swept back handlebar. We talked about the saddle and everything. This is actually a standard Malibu that we're looking at here. So just for comparison, see how the saddle isn't quite as fancy, and the suspension post only has 40 millimeters of travel, and it's a zoom post. It's, the motor's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit lighter weight, the smaller battery. So just, for reference, I thought that was good. I like that you've chosen a drivetrain here that gives you lots of options. 9-speed. We got the trigger shifters over here, which means they move the throttle to the left-hand side because it's too busy and the throttle would collide with those shifters. We have a 9-speed. This is Shimano Altus, so it's one step up in the Shimano component group. 11 to 32 teeth, really fine increments when you're shifting through there. And if your chain breaks or falls off, or maybe you're not into shifting, they have that throttle and it overrides at full power. So that means this bike can kind of act as like a little scooter, which might be nice if you do have hip or knee sensitivity and you want to get a little bit of an exercise, but then you need to take a break. You could just use that throttle. I was going to go through the display, JP, but I just want to make sure. Have I missed anything? Did we talk about anything that?
No, I don't think so.
We good?
I think you've pretty much covered it all. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, man. I'm going to jump in then on this one. We've got it booted up. Yeah, so there's the power button, pretty reachable. I mean, you're reaching over the throttle a little bit, but that's a point that I want to cover here real quick. If you turn this bike on, the throttle is active, even though we're in pedal assist level 0. If you just bump that throttle a little bit, the bike can kind of scoot forward. It's not the end of the world. You pretty quickly pull your hands away, I think, but I like to call that out because it's a bit more advanced. There's more options with this bike, but that means more responsibility and being a little more thoughtful. I usually wait till I'm on the bike to turn it on, or turn it on and then get off the bike just to be extra safe. We've got voltage up top there. So that's a precise way to tell how full the battery is. And then we have 5-tick infographic. So that's, 20% steps. It's kind of standard in the industry. I like when there's 10 or when you have an actual percentage readout, but this gets the job done. Then we have mode. We're in power, but you can take it down to normal and eco. JP was telling me, we like this display and we like this controller because it gives people who are new to e-bikes an easier time. Sometimes these powerful motors, we were talking about 750 to 1500 watts on that's a lot. And so you might want to take it down to eco and get a smoother start versus the zippy powerful feel that it kind of starts to. And then we've got the light indicator, speed readout, miles per hour, pedal assist level 0, full throttle activation, the lights, everything works in 0, just not pedal assist. And then we can go up to level 5 if we want to, for the kind of the sportiest feel and the highest speeds. We have trip 2, that's the kind of a trip meter down there. If we press set, it's gonna cycle to timer, odometer, and trip 1. I should call out that there is walk mode. If we hold down this minus button for just a second, you know, it gives us a little bit of a boost, and that's nice if you get a flat tire, or maybe you have that child seat on and you're in a park and you're just, maybe it's not super wide open and relaxed like it is here. It could be crowded. Walk mode's a nice little fallback for you. And then if we hold set for just a second, it pulls up our menus, like kind of the settings and stuff. So the first menu, or 0, lets us adjust that power level from power, normal, or eco. I'm gonna press set again and it goes to the next one. It says we can clear our trip meter just by holding minus for a second. And then we have top speed. This one's at 62.3 miles per hour. It doesn't mean it can actually go that fast. That's just like, I think that's just as high as it goes. That's kind of like the default. I think they ship this about 20 miles per hour. And for some people, you might feel more comfortable going 15 miles per hour, you know, and that's gonna extend your range. Or coming back to that step-through frame design, if you're just not stable, this is a heavier bike. So it's nice that you can dial that down a little bit and get used to it if you want to. So the next menu here is wheel size 26 inches. That is correct. Now we're at units, so miles per hour or kilometers per hour. I'll keep it at miles because we're in the US for this review. And now we're back to mode. We're in power. I'm gonna hold set and it exits. And now the bike is just ready to ride, right? We ready to ride, JP?
Sure, yeah.
Sweet,
Sounds like a good thing to me.
This is fun. It's nice to see these things up close, and I feel like you guys do a really good job. And I want to call out you guys that even though that you don't see bottle cage bosses on this frame, this is because this is kind of like the first unit. It's like a pre-production sample type of thing. Yeah, so this top tube's actually gonna be slightly lower. It'll have bottle cage bosses. Same thing with the high step. It has them right there on the seat post. And you know, there are bottle cages that come from the side and easier to access. There are trunk bags with bottle holsters, and you can put like a folding lock. There are lots of options. So I like that they actually included that on their frames, because it's really hard to add those aftermarket, and then they wouldn't match the paint and stuff. So for me, it's always nice to see bottle cage bosses. And then even though this is pretty good, you can lower the saddle quite a bit and it's not colliding with that rack. They are going to shorten this just a little bit more so that people can keep that suspension element and get that really low standover height with the saddle. For people who need to go super low, you can just swap this out with a rigid seat post and then get the maximum lowest, and you can slide it forward all the way. And we spoke with some people back at the shop who were doing that, and I thought that was nice. It's neat to see those different options. So that's fun branding and everything right here. Are we ready to hit it?
Sure, sounds good.
Sweet, thank you.
All right.
So you guys, I thought it'd be cool for JP to hop on the high step over there, and I'm gonna hop on, this is again the Malibu Sport, and we might do a little race here, just take off throttle power. You ready to go, buddy?
Yeah, you ready?
Oh, we got a skater. Here we go, take up. Oh, I forgot to turn my bike on. No wonder I'm losing already.
You ready?
That was a false start. See, I just need to get a little advantage here. Oh, there we go. Oh, he's doing great. He's zipping ahead of me, you guys. You know, and JP's a bigger guy, so it's nice to see a bike that gives you that much power and acceleration, kind of regardless of circumstances. Nice, buddy. Looking good. You mind if I trade and try that one out? Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
There we go. And I mentioned this before, but the preload adjust allows you to kind of tighten those springs. So someone like me, I'm kind of lightweight. I open it all the way up and get that comfort. But if you weigh a little bit more, you can dial that in, and that way you're not bottoming out or getting a really bouncy feeling. So yeah, I'm gonna, I think it looks like we're in power mode. I'm gonna take it up to pedal assist level 5 just to show how responsive that is. And I'll meet you back there.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, JP.
See you in a bit.
Wow, you really feel it going. The highest level of assist and power mode. It's worth noting there's a little bit of a delay there. This does have a 12 magnet sensor, so it's one of the more responsive, I think, but it is a cadence sensor. It's not a torque sensor. I always keep in mind that you can override assist or the throttle by pulling those brakes. So see, I'm in pedal assist, the motor's not kicking out at all. and that's because I'm holding the brake. But as soon as I let go, it activates again. And I'm saying that because this is a more powerful bike. If you raise the speed limit on this thing and you're using the throttle, then it becomes kind of a class 4, like a moped, sort of an illegal type of a setup. People use them for private property, or when you're a bigger person, it's kind of like, well, you know, because of my weight, because of my gear, I actually don't go above the speed limit. So I think that makes sense to me, and I just wanted to highlight it here so you guys knew what was going on and you can make decisions for yourself. There's the variable speed throttle, it's very nice. So even though, you know, I'm getting a little bit of throttle power right now, but it's not going crazy unless I push it all the way. Very nice. A little bit of a buzz going on, and that's kind of to be expected from a powerful motor. This is a Dapu motor. They make pretty good stuff. Pretty quiet, pretty reliable. I'm gonna switch through on the gears. Do a little bit of no hands here. Feeling pretty good. Sometimes you get a little bit of speed wobble with these larger bars, especially when there's a lot of weight in the back. So I think that having the battery towards the middle of the frame was a really good idea. Do a suspension test here. Feeling pretty good. A little bit of a rattle noise going on here, and that's the chain hitting the chain cover. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. All in all, I think the fenders are really quiet. Everything feels really sturdy on this bike. It's gonna keep you pretty dry. It's powerful, but there are a lot of options in the display so that you can dial it in. And I might just do that. I'm gonna take it down to pedal assist level 1 here. You know, and it's like, it's not even doing anything because we're above that speed. Pedal assist level 2. Yeah, much more natural for me. And that's about 13 miles per hour that we're going. That's comfortable. So I could see myself just cruising along, getting some nice workout, a little bit of cardio, relaxing, upright body position. That's what it's about right here. And that's just assist level 2, and then you can juice it and catch up with your friends or climb that hill. I love that. This is one of my favorite setups when they completely leave the throttle wide open for you. And even though this is the more expensive model, having the Malibu Sport there for $22.95 is not too bad. So I hope that gives you guys all the good info. JP's back here. Oh yeah, putting those disc brakes to the test.
How was that?
It was fantastic, man.
All right.
Thank you for hanging out and taking us on a little tour. I'll have all the specs on this, you guys, like the width, the length, the height, all the weight, everything we talked about back at ElectricBikeReview.com. And I have a comparison engine, so you could click the little check boxes on these two bikes and you could compare them back to back and make a good decision. They've got good customer support. You know, it's a pretty chill office. We were just there looking at the warehouse, and there's like a tuning stand and a whole bunch of boxes in the back. And again, been in business for a number of years now, 4 or 5 years. So feels pretty good to me. Have fun out there, ride safe. We'll see you next time. Love you guys, and rock on, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Court.
Thanks, JP. Later.
Later.